Hey guys, welcome. Coach M's here, and today we are talking about overspeeding. Overspeeding basically means driving beyond the speed limit of a particular area. Now, don't look at overspeeding from your own perspective. Most people see overspeeding as maybe driving at their top speed. So let's say they are driving at 90 or 100 or 110 or 120. That is what in their minds they perceive as overspeeding. But that is no. It is just going beyond the speed limit of a particular area or road. Now, it is not all the time that you see a speed limit sign planted at a particular place or area. Sometimes you are required to know based on the road that you are using. Like, yes, when they place it there, it helps. But for someone who has a driver's license, the police are expecting that you are well educated enough to know the speed limits of all the roads that we have around you. Now, they are not so difficult to understand. So let me just take you through. Now, the first one is a community. Now, let's look at a typical residential area or community. For most residential areas or communities, the speed limits range between 20 to 30 kilometers per hour. Some may have lower speed limits depending on the size of the area. So, for example, you have maybe a school campus. So, sometimes when you go to some of these, like the universities, Legon, UPSA, some of the senior high schools that are big enough that you can be driving through and all that, some may have lower speed limits. So you may see maybe 10 or 15. Recently, I drove through Kempinski driveway, and it's a small place. They have a small driveway. Their speed limit was about 15 kilometers per hour. And then Golden Tulip too. I remember one time I passed there, and because of their small parking area, their speed limit was 10 kilometers per hour. So yes, you may have very low speed limits, but if you enter a typical community and it is not specified, you are working between 20 to 30 kilometers per hour. Now let's look at urban roads. Urban roads are mainly dual and multiple carriageways, and they are found in town. And they have a lot of traffic lights on them. And the most common speed limit sign you find is 50 kilometers per hour. I'm sure for this one, you've seen them all around. And yes, when you are driving on an urban road, regardless of whether there's a sign there or not, you are operating within 50 kilometers per hour. Now we have the highways, the highways, and then the ones in town, like the N ones and all that. So if you are driving on an urban road, yes, it's 50 kilometers per hour. Now, for some of our highways, the N ones and what have you, they have speed limits of about 80 kilometers per hour. And then when you are traveling and you find yourself in the middle of nowhere with no one around you, you also have speed limits going up to 90. So you have 80 to 90 for highways, the 80 for intercity highways, and then 90 for interregional highways. I hope you found this very helpful. Now, the reason why the communities have such low speed limits is that is where people live, and that is where you find a lot of pedestrians moving from time to time. So they have a lower speed limit to prevent any accidents from occurring. If people are around you, there's no point in driving at very, very high speeds. And for the other ones, the probability of finding pedestrians is much lower. That is why the speed limits are a bit higher. Then we have the motorway. So we have the Tema motorway, and then we have the Pokwasi motorway. For the motorways, the speed limits are 100 kilometers per hour. So once you are driving and you see a sign telling you that the road ahead of you is a motorway, you are working within this particular speed limit. So just take note. Overspeeding is not just about driving at your top speed. It's just driving beyond the speed limit of a particular area or road. It wasn't until I traveled to Takrady that I realized that some of our policemen actually have speed guns that they use to check the speed of other people. So, if you don't know, I'm telling you today. So, I remember one time when I was traveling to Takrady, at a point in time, I was very tired, so I decided to take my time to drive. I was very relaxed. Out of nowhere, there was this sports car just raced past me, and within seconds, it just vanished before my eye. But I was like, well, I mean, wherever he's going, I hope he gets there safely. Then at a point in time, I was on a very straight road, and I was seeing this odd looking figure in front of me. I even thought it was a mirage. So I, leaned forward a bit, squinted my eyes. I was trying to, you know, identify what was there. Apparently, he was a policeman and was holding a device in his hand. And as at the time I saw, by the time I saw him clearly, he was just holding the device and was trying to read something on it. And then when I got there, I slowed down to be like, "Am I free to go?" I was like, "I should go, I should go." And that was when I realized it was a speed gun. Now, the speed guns are so efficient that when they point it at the vehicle, no matter how far it is, it's able to capture the speed at which you are approaching, and they will see it and then verify it even before you get close to them. So by the time you see the officer and you think that, oh, let me slow down so that he doesn't capture me, he has already captured you. He would have already captured you before you even thought about it. So please, when you are driving, make sure you drive within the speed limits. Hope you found this very educative. Bye for now. See you soon and adios.
But the work is done. It always will be.